Right. Well, if Arik, if your group is ready, you may begin your you may begin to present or.
Okay, sir.
Mhm.
Can you see the screen, sir?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So this is our group community development study case. For the study case, we choose to overcoming the monkey disturbance in my housing in Puri Sriwidari Cibubur in Depok, Jawa Barat. The background is because wild monkeys are often found in wild forests, but recently the monkeys come to my housing area, and this location is in Puri Sriwidari Cibubur in East Jakarta. And the problem why the monkeys coming to my housing area because this location is particularly close to the wild forest where there is the monkeys habitat, and the herds of monkey create a lot of disturbance and threatening to our housing area. Even some monkeys sneak into residents' houses or just to their garden. And due to wild monkeys' behavior, people that are right near them and the ones that live in the resident are having an uncomfortable time. So next is the objective and the goals. The objective is we want to determine the decision in handling this problem of disturbance that attack the residential area. For the method is stakeholder analysis. For the goals is we have 3 goals. We need to identify the potential and problems in the study area, and we need to know in the community's views on the problem of monkey disturbance area. And last, we produce a decision that can help reduce the problem of monkey disturbance and in study area. For the study scope, like we said before, this area is in my housing area. It's in Puri Sriwidari Cibubur housing complex in Cimanggis in Depok. This research will make use the stakeholder analysis of the planning process to identify and access the relevant people or stakeholder that affect. And this is a comprehensive study which will find solution and resolve the perpetuated monkey attack in my area. Next will be the methodology, and Gary will explain.
Thank you, Eric. So in this study, first is the facilitation approach to the community. So in this study, we are considering the facilitated discussion using a scenario planning. So the scenario planning is used in the discussion to help find innovative solutions and also innovative solutions to complex problems by allowing the stakeholders to develop and share their mental models of the future. And then for the case selection is what Arik have mentioned before about the herd of monkeys in the Cibubur complex. Sorry, Puri Sriwidari Cibubur complex, housing complex. And then for the analysis tools, we have 3 analysis tools. The first is the stakeholder analysis table. So this table is used to collect information regarding different stakeholders. Like for example, is the stakeholders' interests and then the level of support or their opposition on the decision or project. And also we are also noting the strategies to obtain support or reduce the obstacles. And the second tool is the stakeholder grid. This is the what we have learned in the community development. So this stakeholder grid can help indicate which stakeholders share similar goals, or have similar interests to identify unexpected alliances. So yeah, this is the example of the stakeholder grid. And the third tool is the 3R approach. So we determine each stakeholder's individual rights, the risk associated with the project or the decision, and also the responsibilities in planning and executing the project of each stakeholders. And for our group, that's our progress until now, sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. So you will be using two tools, stakeholder mapping and 3R. Okay, the stakeholder map, well, the stakeholder map that you have right here, or the stakeholder, yeah. Oh, hang on. Is it okay? The one that you have here at the moment, yes, that will help you identify the key players, and I think from this point, from this point you're spot on. With 3R, but with the 3R approach, which is assessing the rights, risks, what's the other R? Oh, and responsibilities, that's right. Associated with the project. Right. Well, you have to define what the project is first. So the what I mean is, okay, wild animals in human settlements may cause issues, a lot of issues, public health issues, security, and so on. They can potentially carry diseases, and so yeah, it is a situation that we need to address. One, but on the other hand, human settlement, we are also encroaching in their space. So as our settlements grow, we continue to cut down forests and clear more land to make way for development, for our development. And so we need to find a solution. So first of all, what is the project? What is the idea that you have in mind? Are you going to eradicate all wildlife, or are you and the community, will you and the community learn to live with the wildlife? So what's the project that you mean?
Okay, sir. Maybe I like to try the answering.
Sure.
But first we need to know every stakeholder preference. For example, maybe the community wants to relocate the monkeys to the zoo because it's really disturbed. But on the other hand, maybe the government will tell us that this is their habitat, we cannot do it, and so on. So first we need to find some input from every stakeholders, what they want.
And just to add on to what Eric has explained, we thought about also maybe we conserve the animals, and we're thinking like to, if the stakeholders agree, if we can make like a place where these animals could just be safely, or such that where people can just go and watch these animals in a nice way without disturbing other houses or something, it can be better. So as for now, we have ideas, but we don't know how the stakeholders are going to respond to this project.
I see. Well, you have ideas which I think would be best if you state the ideas in the report. So, for example, you're going to map the stakeholders and then use the 3R approach to identify where the stakeholders' individual rights, risks, and responsibilities associated with one, associated with the different options. With option 1, maybe relocating the animals. Option 2, maybe building an infrastructure that could mediate the interaction between humans and wild animals, and maybe another option, something. So that's what you need to explain. That's what you need to explain first of all, other than just, you know, saying that, well, we're going to map them, we're going to use a 3R approach, but the project itself, what are the options? So just explain that, and that way you and anyone reading the report will be able to understand, oh, okay, they came up with so-and-so options, and that's what they're going to offer to the community, and the community will decide, will it be option 1, option 2, or option 3, and so on. So yeah, that's I think that's my only that's my main my main concern, my main input for this particular case. So do you have anything to add to that, or?
Okay, so if I get it, if I get what you said clear, you said 1, it's either we need to state either to relocate the animals or to build a structure for animals, or maybe we can find a way on how we can make these monkeys settle with the humans, right?
No, it's the options that you guys came up with. You need to express that in the draft. That's what I was trying to say. So because right now I'm up to this point, the first, second, and the tools that you're using, they're pretty clear, but when I saw this bit here, risks, rights, risks, and responsibilities associated with the project, I'm just thinking, what's the project? That's all. So you need to state that maybe before you're saying before you come into the community engagement tools, you can sort of you can explain a little bit that in dealing with wild animals in human settlements, there are several options. So, and you just need to explain the options. That's all you need to do, I reckon.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
No worries. Okay. Anything else anyone would like to clarify?
I think we're good, sir. Thank you
Oh.
for the. Sorry.
No, I didn't say anything. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're clear with your explanation and input, and we'll put the solutions options in the paper, in the report. Thank you, sir.
No worries. Great. Awesome. So that's one group done. But we move on to the next group.
Okay, let me share my screen first.
Sure.
Here is our paper. So the title, actually, sorry for not translating that on the English. But yeah, we will talking. The topic is about the people, the citizen that not avoid, but they just don't want to get vaccinated. And then the background, the government is working to make the COVID-19 vaccinations program a success. Various ways are done, one of which is to endorse artists and influencers so that their followers are interested. Unfortunately, there are still those who refuse the vaccine even though BPOM or BPOM has allowed it. A person reluctant to be injected with vaccine apparently can be motivated by psychological reasons. Everyone has a different point of view. Some are directly pro with the government preventive measures. Some are against it for various reasons. If the people closest to him are against and continue to influence him, there is a possibility that he will also be against the effectiveness of the vaccines. Psychologically, a person tends to be apathetic towards something new, especially if they have a previously had unpleasant experience. Trying to keep people from rejecting the COVID-19 vaccine is a must. However, there is no need to get into a fight with the contra. And the goals, also the objectives is provide understanding and explanation with of the vaccines to the community. And then the second one is know the community perspective on the vaccines. And then next is find out why people refuse vaccines. And lastly, invite the community to get vaccinated. And we're not sure about this yet. Also, the whole docs itself, we are not really sure about that. And then next, the scope of the study. The object of this research is the city of South Tangerang, the city located in the province of Banten. And then for the methodology, for the facility approach to the community, contact some of the related parties who happen to be related to our group. The researchers decided to conduct research in one of the biggest districts in Indonesia, Tangerang Selatan. This paper will explore the reason why people refuse to be given vaccine, either in general or in certain vaccine. This paper will use root cause analysis and also fishbone analysis. After being after being given a brief understanding and explanation of the situations, will be discussed about the reason or causes of actions or refusal to vaccines. After that, suggestions can be obtained to achieve all the objectives described in this paper, especially how to invite certain people to get vaccinated. So for the root cause analysis, this is like actually the definitions of root cause analysis and then fishbone analysis and how it is related to this case. And then for chapter 3, the general description. So Tangerang is a city located in Banten province. The city is located 30 kilometers west of Jakarta and 90 kilometers southeast of Serang, or the capital city of Banten province. South Tangerang is located in the eastern part of the Banten province at coordinated, yes, that, and then is longitude Yeah, and on that solidated. The South Tangerang City area is crossed by the Angke River, Pasanggerahan River, and Cisadane River as the city administrative boundary in the west. The geographical location of South Tangerang is bordered by DKI Jakarta province on the north and east. Beside that, South Tangerang is also one of the areas that connect to Banten province with the West Java province. The following The following is the boundary of the southern Isi Tangerang. North, Tangerang City, East, DKI Jakarta, South is Bogor Regency and Depok City, and West is Tangerang Regency. For the problem overview, the COVID-19 vaccination program in Indonesia is targeted to be completed within 15 months. Starting from the January 2020, to get out of this pandemic circles, it takes group immunity obtained from vaccinated of 70% of the populations. The problem is the existence of the anti-vaccine group is the stumbling block that could hinder or even thwart these efforts. In Indonesia, anti-vaccine circles have spread many irrational theories about COVID-19, ranging out from vaccine containing chip used for espionage, and then the problem of dangerous compositions, until the last is to the halal or haram of the constituent substance. Although it is difficult to accept the logic, hoax information created by the anti-vaccine group has succeeded and in influencing many people to refuse the vaccinations. And then for the analysis, the stakeholder mapping is the definition of a stakeholder according to the Freeman and McEva on 2001 is any groups of or individual who can influence or be affected by achievement or of organizational goals. Stakeholder theory is a theory that describes to which party the company is responsible. Just like what we need to use for this big task. Stakeholder mapping is a process and visual tool to clarify and categorize the various stakeholder by drawing the further pictures of what the stakeholder group are. Which interest they represent, the amount of power they possess, whether they represent inhibiting or supporting factors for the organization to realize its objectives. Or methods in which they should be dealt with. It allows us to understand who the stakeholders are and for the organizations. Stakeholders mapping is the collaborative process of analysis, debate, and discussion that draws from multiple perspectives to determine appropriate partners. This is the list of stakeholders. Actually, we really need your suggestions to add some of the stakeholders because, again, we are not really sure for these documents yet. For the primary stakeholders is the vaccinated community and then communities that refuse vaccines. Also, for the secondary stakeholder, which is indirectly affected, it is doctors and police. And lastly, for the key stakeholders, it is mass vaccine organizer and government. For the stakeholder mapping, the high influence, low interest, or the latents, it is communities that refuse vaccines, and the low influence or also low interest or the apathetics, it's a police, and high influence, also high interest or the promoters, it is governments and the doctors. Low influence and high interest, it is the mass vaccine organizer. And then list of stakeholders and the interest. We are not putting the interest yet, but we already list it down. Community that refuse vaccine, vaccinated community, doctors, mass vaccine organizer, and then government, and lastly the police. If you could give us more suggestions about this, we really need that. And then result and study, we are not doing it yet. And then there's chapter 5 and references, and then lastly attachments. I think that's all for these documents.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, for Matilda, breathe. Take it easy. So anti-vaxxers, that's a very interesting topic, and it's a very relevant and very contextual a very contextual topic, considering our situation at the moment. So I think from the background, the goals and objectives are pretty straightforward. Maybe you need to you may need to either explain or focus or explain a little further, like, are you going to focus purely on the COVID-19 vaccination program, or are you going to talk about vaccination in general? The difference is, if you're saying, no, we're going to focus on COVID-19, we're not going to talk about vaccines in general, that's fine, but you need to express that. You need to write that down in your goals and objectives. So, for example, provide understanding and explanation of so goals are number one, explain COVID vaccine, explain COVID vaccine to the community, and then how should I say this? Collect community perspectives on the COVID vaccine, of course. And then 3, find out why people refuse the COVID vaccines. And then 4th is to hopefully change their mind. So the scope of study and such are, as I said, they're pretty straightforward. Oh, hang on.
Should I just give you the link of it, sir? The link for our document?
You may do so, but just at this moment, I'll just annotate the screen as we go. So first, express explicitly in your goals and objectives. Dijelaskan, ditulis saja vaksinnya itu vaksin umum atau vaksin COVID itu. Jadi lebih jelas. So it's more focused, it's more it's just clearer and more it's just clearer that way. And then for stakeholder mapping, let's go to stakeholder mapping, because I think the other chapters are fine, or the stakeholder or the list of stakeholders then. Okay. Do you think this is too many stakeholders or too little? Terlalu banyak atau terlalu sedikit?
Actually, we're not really sure about the government because we know no one from the government. So we were trying to get like an audio or like some interview with them, so related to this topic, right? And we're not sure about the government because again, it's like so Tangerang Regency, and we're not sure about getting people from government. Also, we're just sure about the vaccinated communities that refuse vaccinity, and then doctors, police, and also the mass vaccine organizer. So for the government, we aren't really sure about that. But I think this is too, but for the whole group, for my group, we don't think that this is enough for the topic. I mean, this is too little, maybe.
Okay.
Not that much.
Okay. Well, a couple of things that I want you to know. This is not a final project. Ini bukan tugas akhir. So you don't need to treat it as such. Government itu you can divide, or what division or what department, dinas apa from the government yang directly involved, that are directly involved with vaccinations. It's the public health department, isn't it? The health department, dinas kesehatan. So dinas kesehatan is usually populated by medical practitioners, doctors. So you can have a doctor that represents the government, or you can have a private doctor in the list of stakeholders. But if you have any trouble in securing or finding respondents to represent primary, secondary, or key stakeholders, then it's okay. You can admit, or you can state that in the final chapter, saying that unfortunately we were not able to secure, or we were not able to recruit a representative from the government, or from other primary stakeholders, maybe, or from other stakeholders. So we decided, so we did not include government, for example, because you were having trouble. You were having trouble identifying, let alone recruit a representative from the government. That's my suggestion. So first option, you can split the doctors into private doctors and doctors that may represent the government. For example, those who are working in, or those doctors who work in state-owned hospitals, rumah sakit umum daerah. You can ask them. So not government from dinas kesehatan only, but I think doctors who work in public hospitals can also be considered as government representatives, because their employment status is ASN, aparatur sipil negara. So they're a part of the system, right? Like I'm a part of the system as well. I'm an ASN, but I'm with the, who are we with now? Education and culture, I suppose. No longer with the higher education, no longer with the higher education ministry. But so I am technically speaking a government representative, but in this case, I can't be recruited as a stakeholder because I work in a different, totally different field to public health. So that's your first option, to split the to split the doctors into two groups, the private and the public, and private and public hospitals, or public doctors. Option number two, if you can't do that, then and you think that it's impossible for you to recruit someone from the government in the time frame, then you can leave this out. That's okay. Again, this is not a final assignment. Ini bukan tugas akhir. It is just a task. You don't need to go head over heels to complete this task. This is already quite immense. The idea of this task is to give you that practical experience. Okay, I've done. I can do stakeholder mapping. I can do root cause analysis. I can do all sorts of. I'm familiar with all sorts of community development and community engagement techniques and strategies. So that's all that matters. If you're not trying to solve the problem directly, but in learning to use the tools, you may stumble upon a solution, but the solution itself is not the main. Itu bukan tujuan utamanya. So that's, if you can't secure stakeholders, that's fine. Kalau kalian bilang ini masih sedikit, no, that's a lot. The vaccinated community, communities that refuse, the anti-vax community, public health practitioners or medical practitioners. You can split the doctors, selain public and private doctors. You can split you can cross out doctor, and you can use the term medical practitioner, because that will encompass a whole group of professions, which includes doctors, nurses, and other supporting staff. So there you go. You have more than already. If you strike out doctors and you split them in, if you split the doctor category into 2 or 3, you already have more. You already have more stakeholders. If you feel that you're lacking in that department. But as far as I'm concerned, you've got 2 primary stakeholders, you've got 2 secondary. Even if you have 1 key stakeholder, that's not exactly an issue with me. Gitu.
Okay, sir, we really got so much point from what you were saying before, but we still have some questions, and we really need your suggestions and also an answer. So about the stakeholder representative, can we get like someone from our family or like our relative that actually not that their positions in that job wasn't that high, or even if they make some reason or some explanation of the on the analysis, it's actually, yeah, you got what I mean. They're not in the high positions. They just if maybe the police, they're just normal police, or like the police who secured the mass vaccines, even do something like that. Is it okay? Or but they're living and also work on South Tangerang. And then about the photo or the video or the audio, does we really need that, or we don't need it? And how do we membuktikan how do we membuktikan that they really answer with these questions? Is it something like that? Also, is it better, for your opinion, to use the video, audio, or audio, and then we take a photo and then we make like the whole scripted text or something like that? Can you please answer?
Okay. First of all, if your stakeholders are from the local community, as in people who live and work in South Tangerang, and they know the area very well. They know the wider community very well. They know quite a lot of people. They know some people there. Could be a lot. It can be a few. But if they're very familiar with the area, then their rank or position should be irrelevant. This is a common misconception that, oh, I should get the head of so-and-so department. Maybe I should get the police chief to comment on this. The police chief receives the police chief forms their opinion, forms their perspectives based on what the field workers, what the street cops report to them. So their opinion is based on secondary input. You're actually better off with the lower ranking officers, those who engage directly with the community. They're the ones I think that should be approached, not the heads, not the chiefs. With doctors, yeah, doctors, they're doctors who are on the field, not the director of so-and-so hospital, because again, they get fed with secondary data from reports, unless of course they are directly involved with the community. That's something else. But normally the higher ranking officials, the higher ranking officers, they don't really engage in the field very often. So that's something for you to consider. In principle, it's okay. Whoever it is that you want to recruit, if they happen to be your relatives or your friends who are from the area, that's wonderful. That's fine, and they can represent certain stakeholders even better. So not a problem with that. In terms of practice, whether you should record with video or audio only, or just written or just a written transcript and photographs. If you're going to take a picture of someone or record someone, ask their permission first. That should be a no-brainer, because that's common sense. So ask them if they would like to be recorded, if they're okay with being recorded. If they say, I'm not too confident in front of the camera, then maybe just voice recording. Because if you're going to provide a transcript and you don't have a voice recorder ready, you can't really remember everything that the person says. So record their voice, but again, ask permission to do so. Usually people are more comfortable with voice recording, but not with video recording. Having a voice recorder or having a voice recording of your respondent will help you in compiling your report, or will help you compile the transcript for your report. So that's my comment on the recording. If you're going to take a picture for the report, again, ask them if they're okay, or tell them that this discussion will be documented. My friend will take pictures as we speak, but the pictures won't be published. They'll be in our report, and our report is not going to be published in any way. So not everyone's going to be able to see your photo. It's not going to pop up suddenly in Instagram or something like that. Or maybe the video will pop up as a dance video in TikTok. So, but yeah, if they're okay with that, then by all means, you can record video, audio, take pictures and whatever, as long as they agree. But yeah, in principle, I'm not asking for you to do all of that, but having recordings of your respondents will help you make this. Well, it's just going to make it easier for you to make the report. That's all.
Thank you so much, sir, for the suggestions and also the answer. I think that's all from our group. Is there one of my friends group want to ask more?
I think the other group has just left.
No, I mean,
Oh,
there
okay.
shall be my friends group here, right? I think no. I think that's all, sir. We really thank you for the really nice day and also your assist today. It really helps us.
Well, I'm glad to be able to help. I figured I thought let's just do it on a Sunday, because normally you guys have class on weekdays and I have other things to do on weekdays, and I just happen to have some free time on Sunday afternoon. So there you go. But I'm glad to be of assistance, and I'm also glad and I'm happy that that you found my input helpful. Right. So I'm going to stop recording now, and I will share with you the link to the recording. And if you would be so kind as to forward the link to the other group as well.